Well, looks like we are live. We are live. Happy Monday, everybody. Really, happy Monday. Those of you who were here Thursday are going, yeah, it is Monday. Actually, it really is Monday this time. Okay, I've got us up on YouTube. Awesome sauce. We are ready to go. Oh, how's that for early? What, a whole 2 minutes? Oh my. Last minute, I thought a couple other things I wanted to grab. So not very early. Let's see who's here. At least I wasn't late. Hey, KK, how are you? Oh, so glad you're here. Oh, thought you saw 12 o'clock. So you had a little quiet time. That's always a good thing. I mean, really, that's always a good thing. A quiet hour. Hey, Margie. Hi, Toby. Early is good. Hi, Linda. Hey, Julie, you are awake. 4 a.m. So happy to see you here, Julie. Yes, the things you do for us. We're happy to see you. Hi, Glynis. Awesome. The magical touch. Oh, goodness. My mind just failed me. Remind me of your first name. Magical touch. Remind me of your first name. I know it. Okay, so hope you're alive. You're alive and well. Carol, thank you, Carol. I knew that I should know it. I apologize. It was the busiest weekend, and it was just family stuff. And in between family stuff, I was packing orders. That's all I did was family and pack orders. So you sent the ladies home early. Oh, okay. So let me get myself a drink here. Feeling a little parched. So happy to see you all here on a Monday morning. Not a Thursday. It is a Monday. Here is this week. It's April 4th to 9th. Today is hashtag Monday Jumpstart Collage. I'm really excited about this because I get a lot of questions about collage. And we've had a lot of requests about collage. So we're going to maybe attack it from a little different angle today. So hashtag Monday Jumpstart Collage. When you put photos of any of your collage items from today in the Happy Paper People in the group, just in case, if any of you have not joined the group yet, I think y'all have, but just in case, Happy Paper People on Facebook, there are 3 questions. Answer all 3. It will let you write in and you won't have to wait. That is the trick. Just went and grabbed yourself a cup of tea. Good for you. I am on my own. Isn't it strange? I used to always be on my own, and here I am on my own today. The only thing that's strange about it is that I don't hear any noise in the background because there's nobody else moving papers, just me. And there's nobody else. I don't hear anybody laugh out loud. I only see your comments, and I don't, there's nobody to make snarky comments back at me. Yeah, what you think is a masterboard. I'll have that. Margie, I know you hear that a lot too. We get that question a lot. So I thought we would tackle that today as well to define really what is the difference between just collage and a masterboard. So yeah, I know. Julie, you want to come on? You want to come on even on just audio and talk to me? Julie's like, I'm half awake. I just rolled out of bed. I just got a cup of tea. It's 4 a.m. in Australia. We're just glad you're here. We are so glad you're here. Okay, Thursday, I'm undecided between 2 things, so I have not made that decision yet what Thursdays will be. But don't forget to come back in after this live is ended and comment on the video or any video on the channel. And in your comment, put hashtag 1000 subs. As we are approaching 1000 subscribers, I am putting together a box of crafty goodness. And there's a lot of great stuff in there. And I just keep tossing things in every day, every week, really. A couple times a week, I walk by and toss a couple things into the box. The box is filling up, and trying to just get a real variety of things in there. So whoever wins it should have a lot of fun going through it and using all the things in there. So, all right. I got to thinking I probably should have collaged a few things ahead of time so that we had some that were dry. But what do I use for collage? Today I grabbed a couple of old file folders I have a bin underneath my desk, and that's where I put all of like this kind of stuff that is packaging. I'll use this for collage. This is wonderful. It's not as thick and heavy as chipboard, but it's certainly heavier than even cardstock. Got a hole in it, or punctured there, doesn't matter because it will get collaged over. So I use things like that. I use old file folders. I'll put old file folders underneath me when I'm doing things, so like inking, so it goes over the edge and gets that. Doesn't matter because it's going to get collaged over. So these don't look so bad because they were just fresh out of my bin. And I wanted to grab things that were a little smaller. Typically when I collage, I'll grab, I moved it. A lot of you know I have a desktop calendar. It's an old one from a year or two ago. And I will just set this here when I'm making stuff. When I have scraps, I'll just collage the scraps right onto that. And pretty soon the whole thing will be covered. And that's one type of collage that we'll talk about. But I don't always do that. Sometimes I'll just take a fresh sheet of that, and it's large, because it's desktop, and I'll sit down and use that as my collage board and collage the entire thing. So you can collage on any size, literally on any size. So don't ever think that it has to be anything in particular. In fact, let's see. I wonder if this will work as a tear ruler here for a second. I thought I'd work on a little bit smaller pieces today because we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And so I'll be wanting to look at them on, do each different one on a different base or substrate. I don't want to do them all in the same one because then it's going to be all disjointed. I'm just wondering if this will tear. It's kind of skinny, and not that it's skinny, it's kind of flimsy. It's a very flexible ruler, so didn't know if that would work. And it did. That worked just fine. So let's see what I'm going to do. One of the things I put in there that we will talk about is collaging tags. So we're just going to make a tag right here. How tall? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about tall enough. About right there. I don't know how. It's probably about 7. That's all right. It's just fine. All right. So, and I'll be going back and forth where I will look down here for a while to do what I'm doing, and then I'm going to come over and look at comments. With collage, I think I can pretty much go back and forth pretty well, so shouldn't be too bad there. But if I don't catch it immediately, don't get offended. Just know that give me a second. I'll get over there. Let's see, that's where it was. Also, if you could, it'll really help me out, especially today, being alone. Put 4 question marks and then in all caps, and then 4 question marks, anything that you want to make sure I see or you have a question for me. It's a lot easier to see. It jumps out at me like that when it's all caps. I can also grab a comment even while I'm doing something and star it. Does that look even? Kind of, sort of. I can star it, and then I can go back and see that so that I don't lose that comment even if chat keeps going. So I will do that as well. So I don't want you to think that because your chat moves off the screen that it's not going to get seen and answered. Okay, so yeah, Julie, I guess we should go in and figure that out and make sure that it works before we just do it. Chipboard color. So yeah, this one is packaging. Nope, this one, This one is packaging. And so that's that gray, like gray board. And then this is a file folder. Yeah, this one is a file folder. It's kind of greenish, brownish, grayish, ugly. Yeah. Really pretty file folders too with colored patterns on them. Oh, I know, and those are hard to tear up and use for collage because they're so pretty. You know how we all did ages ago substrates to look them up and literally nothing came up except the building industry stuff. Really? Carp. Darn it, Margie's out fishing again. Just threw herself out. So, papered rooster. Oh, I love the name. Hi. Oh, hi, Wendy. A new YouTube channel. Thanks for letting me know it's you. That's awesome. You know what? I'm going to jot it down because we've had a lot of new people lately, and you change. I'm going to think it's somebody new. Awesome. Welcome, Wendy. Oh, yeah, very thick. Glennis, did that link not come through? Let me see quickly. I think. Let's see. Glennis, I did put a link in chat. Did it not work? Here, I did it again. Let's see if that one works. If you want to come on in. That'd be awesome. Glennis wants in. Glennis is welcome in. Do the 5. Do the 5. Do the 5. Yes, if it was do the 5. Okay. You just need to learn to type. He was showing me something. Oh, that's funny. Well, you don't have to type straight or correct answers or correct words here to fit in because, that's just kind of the way we roll. We type, even when we do type right, autocorrect makes us wrong. So we don't ever worry about typing wrong. If we can usually figure out what each other's saying, and if for some reason we can't, then we'll just ask. Or you can retype it. No big deal. All right, so let's start with one of these. Let's start with this one here. First, let's talk about what you might use to collage with. As far as a brush, typically I'm using a large surface when I'm collaging. Sometimes I'm just collaging a tag. But if I'm using a large surface, I kind of like a large brush because I can cover a lot more surface in, per swipe. If I'm just doing a tag, then I'll use a smaller brush, not necessarily an angled one, but this was my, there's one other one I could use. I have several that are collage brushes. This one does have a point, which lets me get into little corners if I need to without getting the whole brush in there and getting everything gooey. So that is helpful. You could also use a silicone spatula. And I love, 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 love these. But when I collage, I do like a large brush. And if you didn't hear last week, I got some of these silicone spatulas for the next sale coming up. And they come in 3 different colors. So I do have those. So I'm going to be using the large brush today. Hi, Maki. Happy to see you. We all have magic decoder. See, Margie provided everybody with magic decoder rings. And autocorrect sometimes changes it to something embarrassing. That is true, Julie. I have yet to see anything, though, that tops the embarrassing one that Doug did one day by text that autocorrected that I cannot say on live. But I've not yet ever seen anything that was quite as embarrassing. You can't find any of these spatulas, Julie? Well, I'm going to have some of them at the next sale. So, you know why I love them? Because I don't ever have to wash them. I wiped this one off and it still had just a little bit on it. So it dries and then I just peel it off. It's awesome. Okay, I don't want that dry stuff on my substrate here. So, Julie, I'll have to go back and find the substrate videos. I'm reorganizing everything in YouTube and making less playlists because there's too many playlists. There's too many things spread way out and you can't find anything. So I'm reorganizing all of that. So Margie needs some of those too. I know it seems like I can never have enough. So Glennis, did neither of those work? Let me try again. Let me try. I'll go grab it fresh. Copy. Okay. Try this one, Glennis. Glennis, it's in sales team. Did you get to the right one? I'm thinking maybe you didn't. I'm thinking maybe you were looking in your personal. It's in sales team chat. Check that one. Because if you were in your personal one, you're going in last week's. And you'll never get in with that one. Okay, so what do we use to collage with? Spicy pasta sauce. That's what we use, right? That came off of a quart jar. I love spicy pasta sauce. So we grow tomatoes in the garden and I then can it. Okay, this is a jar that is just tacky glue. I have like a 64-ounce container of tacky glue that I got somewhere, Michael's, Hobby Lobby or something. It's tacky glue, and I add some water to it, mix it up really good. Just thins it out a little because it's really thick, and you do not need it that thick to collage, and it will take forever to dry. Okay, so I've got that. I've also got, any collage medium and any glue, really, any glue. I'm going to use these two today because they're both partly used and there's not that much left, and I would just want to go ahead and finish them off. So this is Stamperia's collage gel, but it's their collage gel, collage medium. If you really like the Tim Holtz Distress collage medium, you will love the Stamperia collage gel. I do. I like that, and I do, and because they kind of do some different things than others do. They don't leave the lines. You don't see lines underneath. They just really blend and dry nicely. So, hi, Cheryl. Oh, so happy you're here, even for a little bit. There's Glennis. Give me just a second. We'll get Glennis in here. Hey, Glennis.
I'm just visual, or just audio.
Okay, just audio.
But I can try and make Candy's snarky remarks.
Hang on. I got to get my volume up. Okay. There we go. Speak again. Let me make sure I can hear you.
I will try and make Candy's snarky remarks.
Thank you. That'll make me feel.
I will try and make Candy's snarky remarks.
That will make.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Do you have a YouTube open?
Okay, it's closed.
Okay. That'll make me
I'm
feel
new
right
at
at
this.
home. That will make me feel right at home if you make Candy's snarky remarks. Okay, so I'm going to use this Stamperia collage gel, and as soon as that's done, I'm going to go to this Distress collage medium because I just want to use those two things up. And see what I've got in here. Oh, that's a whole book. There are some bits and pieces. Just kind of checking what's right there. That kind of sits on my desk, put things in all the time. All right, so let's talk first about just general collage, basic collage, putting a basic collage down. If you don't know what you want to use it for, you might choose to use book pages, music pages, dictionary pages, things like that. Those are great for collage. So let's see, I've got some music. There's some book. What's even some little what do we call them? Diagrams on them. And here's some really old dictionary pages, that nice fibrous paper, and they're kind of yellowed. So that's kind of nice. So I'll use those three. So this is, say I want to make some general collage bases or substrate. Now, don't get confused about substrate because this is a substrate. This piece of gray board right here is a substrate. A substrate is just the thing you are putting other things onto. Okay, so this is a substrate, but I'm going to collage on it and turn it into a different kind of substrate, or a substrate that I will use for different ways for a different purpose than what I just use this plain. I use the plain gray board to make a collage substrate, and then I'll use the collage substrate to make other. I'm thinking that I might want to just stick this under here so I don't just completely cover this mat and everything sticks to it on the bottom, from the bottom. So let's do that. Okay, let's get these guys out of the way. All right, so working with fair, these are like 8.5 by 11 pieces, and that hopefully will let me do a number of things, and maybe something will get dry. I'm going to cover a bit of a space here, although you don't have, if I'm using a big one, I will cover about this much space, because then I can just put some things down and, you get going that quickly. Okay, I'm going to put this up here. Now, the corner is kind of torn off, so I'm going to go just past it. And I'm not going to worry about the edges, because when I get all done, then I go, and it's dry, then I will go back and I will trim the edges just to make it nice and neat, right where my base substrate is. Okay, so I'm putting that one first. Now, there's a couple of things about collage. First thing to know is that your pieces will collage better if they are torn rather than cut. And the only time that I really leave a cut edge is when I'm going to put it on the edge of the page. And for that, I don't worry about that, because it would be cut straight anyway. So I know this is going to go up here over the right to the edge, so I'll just leave that one cut.
Cheryl, from what I understand, decoupage is just one layer, and collaging, you're layering up more than one layer without a particular picture, if that helps at all.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Say you decoupage a picture on something, you put your stuff down, you put your picture down, and then you decoupage one layer of stuff over it to seal it in. But yes, with collage, you can do layers and layers and layers, which is a really good point, Glennis, because a lot of people are nervous about starting collage or intimidated about how to do it because they see some that look really cool and they don't know, how am I going to get it looking like that? Here's the thing about collage. Tear out that paper. It's paper. If you don't like it, if you get something down and you don't like it, you put some paper over it. So never worry about your collage looking good or even how you like it. Just start putting paper down, because when you get done, if you don't like what it looks like, you can just put paper over it, because layers are great in collage. So that's the second tip. The first tip is to tear the edges instead of cutting them. And the second thing is, as you're laying them down and gluing them on, which is what collage is, just gluing, don't glue them next to each other. Let them overlap, okay? Like this. Let's see. I'm going to do a... See how each one of these is overlapping the one that I put down in front of it? Here's a good example of the edge. This is not... I'm going to get glue all the way down here so I don't have to stop in the middle of that. Trying to get enough, but not get too much so it'll dry, and that doesn't really work much. So, okay, I'm down to the edge here. I want to make sure the edge is covered. So I'm going to put this all the way over the edge, and it's not straight. I'm not going to worry about it being straight. When I'm all done and it's dry, I will just put it on my paper trimmer, and trim up that edge. But you want to let each piece overlap other pieces. Okay, if you line it up next to each other, it just looks too, what's the word? Perfect, too designed. And kind of the art of these collage that we like to do in our crafty world is that it's designed, you want to design it to look like it's not been designed, to look like that's just the way it is.
Toby, if you water it down, it will go further. You don't need to water Mod Podge, but for something like this, it's a good idea, only that it'll go further.
Yeah, it will go further, and it is plenty thick and plenty sticky, so that if you do water it down, it won't destroy its efficacy at all. It will work just fine. The tacky glue, I water it down because I think it's actually a little too thick. when things are too thick, you can spread it over it, but you're going to be waiting a couple of days for it to even dry, and, you know, kind of not necessary. So I water it down to get rid of some of that thickness in there. It's much easier to spread. It does go farther, lasts longer, and will dry a little bit faster. So, all right, let's put some of this over here on the corner. And you don't have to start at one side and work to the other. That just happened to be like the paper that I had. But I've got a good, nice corner one over here with edges. And I like these edges that look distressed and old because they are distressed and old. So I'm going to bring that over and put that on a corner. Never worry about meeting the page next to it because I know that I always want to overlap. And there's just tiny bits of distress over here where the paper's torn. I'm going to leave that because I know that I can fix that with some distress ink by inking around the edge. This seems to have some bubbles under it, so I'm just rubbing that a little bit. Okay. All right. You can bring this one up here. Okay, so I thought if I use some 8.5 by 11 pieces that it wouldn't take as long to get a page filled, so we could do one technique and then do another and then come back. Let's see. I love these really old, this music paper is really old too, and I love how the edges get really old and brown, but how they get brittle and they start to crack and chip. I love that that really old look there. So I'm trying to kind of sort of keep those. Here's a different music page that is not as old. I'm going to take a piece of that and use that corner. Maybe I don't want that much white, so I'm going to put it so it hangs over about half of the way so I can trim that off. What are you working on today, Glennis?
I'm trying to do a washi board.
Oh, faux washi?
Yep.
Cool.
Well, no, real washi.
Oh.
A full, but I'm making a board, a collage board out of washi.
Collage board with washi. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, a whole nother technique. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm kind of not following exactly what you're doing.
Oh, that's okay.
I am doing a collage board.
We should actually do that as a whole nother event because I know a lot of us, I have tons of washi that I really need to use. And that is an excellent way.
That's exactly why I'm doing this. I have a box full that I never touch.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to use it. So yeah, we definitely should do that. Different ways to use washi in that manner. But yeah, you can do a whole collage board with washi tape. We've done the cards before. Okay, let's see. What don't I have? Let's get some of the big dictionary page in the center there. Got that right there. And let's see. Put that right there. And so, you know, if you get going and you're like, you know, that white just jumps out at me. I don't like it. I thought I would want the you know, the variety, and I don't like it. I can go back and just put some of these darker papers over those. You don't have to leave anything on the page that you don't like. That is for sure. Okay, so we want everything to overlap. I like that edge. I'm going to save that for something else. We've got a lot of book text there. Get some music over there. So I'll just have to do some more overlapping. Music. Let's get the old music. I'm really liking this old music. You can hardly hear it tear because it is so old and brittle. I'm going to save the edge piece. That's just awesome. Okay, in fact, I'm going to put this little edge piece up here because I really just love that dark music aged page. Make a little less of the lighter right there. And I'll bring a piece down here over the top of this. And I'm okay if there's a lot more music than anything else on it. You may be thinking specifically, for a specific project when you make these. Like maybe you're going to do a botanical journal or flowers or spring or things like that. And you can pull pages out of a botanical book and use them so that you see botanical words. That's cool to do. Okay, so there's just a basic. Let's set this aside and hope that maybe it can kind of sort of dry a little.
Margie, that's how I use most of my washi tape for.
Collaging?
No, holding down die cuts.
Oh, yeah. It is good for that, too. It is very good for that, too. Okay. Make sure I keep that handy. Okay. All right. So let's do another one. Let's say, that you're thinking about a particular journal or book that you're making. Hi, Christy. Hi, Dawn. Who else did I miss? Mostly used to hold it. Yes, never saw the value of washi, so I only have about 6 rolls. I probably have about 600, Margie, and I really need to do some of these, something mass with it, with everybody. Okay, let's say that you do. You're making a journal, you're making a book, and you've done some gel printing or spraying or overspray or whatever it is that's in kind of the color scheme. These two happen to have been done at the same time, so they're in the same color scheme, and that's the color scheme of the book that you're doing. And so you're spraying those or putting them on your gel plate specifically to get those colors for that book. So we want to do some collage, so then we could cut it apart and use it for tags throughout that book. But you'd like to kind of get those colors into it. How do you do that and make that part of the base so you don't just have to decorate it in those colors? Okay, so for that, I'm going to do kind of sort of the same thing, but what I will do differently, spread out some glue here. Glue, I kind of term it all as glue, all collage medium. It's all some sort of glue. It's sticky, right? Sticky crap. Sticky crap that'll hold stuff down. It's glue. We call it whatever fancy you want. All right, so I'm going to put some of that down. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to use these same basic pages. They're kind of neutral pages, but I'm going to use large pieces. I'm going to just do some really large pieces. Now there's a straight line there. I didn't catch that or I would have torn it. Although I will overlap it, so we know it won't be seen because it'll be overlapped. But still, why did I say tear it? Because they blend in together. When you put the glue on, the collage gel, whatever it is you're using, they blend together and become more cohesive when they are torn. That's why I said to tear it instead of cut it. Let's see, I'm looking for some of the book page. And I'll go up here and use a big piece of that. I'll cut that off the bottom. Just about used up this whole little pot. Yay, one more thing to throw away. Not that that's lightening up my studio at all, but it is one thing to throw away. All right. So I'm putting large pieces on in the same manner, wanting them to blend together, wanting to overlap them so that you can't really see the edge where one starts, one stops. Probably should only get one hand in the sticky, not both, right? Helps to keep one out of the sticky altogether, I think. Okay, this is, oh, I love this old music paper. We probably have enough in here to do this whole sheet. Okay. Oh, tore it just a little shy, and I really don't want to put another one there. I just want to use large pieces here. So I'm going to bring it up and put it up here. I will tear a larger. You know, the whole thing could be done in music paper or book page. It doesn't have to be both. I like that they both have really old paper. Like this is more breaking than tearing. I have to be careful because it just like literally bend it and it breaks. It's so brittle. They're just different colors of aging because they are different types of paper. That's why. This is one of those recycled folders, and so it's getting really soft with all the collage gel on it. Okay, so I still got a little bit up there that's not covered.
Hi, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. Just got back from lunch with your son. Oh, what a nice day. What a nice date. Love going to lunch with my son. I don't see him nearly often enough anymore since we moved. Okay, looking for one. I didn't want to use this with that straight edge, but it's not enough for me to tear off because it's so brittle. So I'm going to use it knowing that I have to do something about that straight edge. Oh, that's so brittle. Okay, I just wanted to cover up that little canyon right there. Okay. Okay, so this is essentially the same type of collage, right? It's just that they're really large pieces instead of the smaller pieces. And why did I do the larger pieces? Because I want to tie it in with the colors of the book that I'm doing. And so I'm going to take this that I sprayed or gel printed or painted, whatever you do for those colors. And I want to be able to use this page with it. And so I'm just going to start tearing some pieces. Now these pieces are going to be a little bit smaller because these are going to be the pieces that bring the color in, not the pieces that collage. The base is already done, but now I want to add the colors that are going to tie in with my book. Okay, also when you tear your paper, you can tear it, I can tear it this way, or I can tear it this way, right? What you want to look at is what part of the paper are you going to use? What's in my left hand or what's in my right hand? And when you tear it, do you want to see this edge that could have a lot of white like that where the top is torn off? It always has a little bit, sometimes a lot. Or do you want to see this side that has only the color because that was the top that tore off there? And sometimes you want one and sometimes you want the other because those thin edges are really nice to ink up, but I'm not inking them here. So I'm tearing it this way. If I tear it towards me, that's the piece that's on top, the piece that's coming towards me. And so that's going to be the piece that does not have the white. And so those are the pieces that I want because I don't color right out of the middle of that. Okay, then I'm just going to add that color in here. And it'll be randomly because remember, I'm going to take this entire sheet and I'm going to cut it up to be tags or journal cards. I can put coffee dyed paper on the back. I'm going to put this one right in the middle where all 4 of these pieces meet. And then it just covers the 4 corners. Anybody ever been to the 4 corners? Stood with 2 feet and 2 hands in 4 different states at the same time. Fun. Except, you know, depending what age you are, you might not be able to get back up if you're on 2 feet and 2 hands. Not that, you know, I just know. I mean, I'm just saying that I've seen people do, you know. Not that I would do that at this age and not be able to move. Okay, we'll put one up here. And I know you could even go as far, if you wanted to, you could even go as far as to say, okay, it's this long. I'm going to cut it into this many tags. They're going to be big tags, or I'm going to cut it in half horizontally. They're going to be smaller tags. Each one will be 3 or 4 inches wide. I'll get 3 tags. You know, you can even go as far as to do that if you want to determine where you're going to place these pieces. I'm not going to do that. I just want to get some of this color on to add that color to what I will use in that journal, because even though that's a tag base, I'm still going to embellish it. Even though it's got the color, I'm still going to embellish it. It just will have the color coming through that accentuates the journal. So that's collaging with a specific end result in mind, being able to get what you want. Collage doesn't always have to be absolutely random. It can be absolutely random. I try to do the absolutely random, and oh, it drives me crazy. The only time that I like absolutely random when I do it is when I'm just using these aged book pages and music pages and things like that. If I take scraps of scrapbook paper or, you know, things that I've gel printed, things like that, and just do them randomly, I feel like I just end up with a big old colorful mess, and I just don't like it so much. But I've seen others that people at least said they did randomly that look really great. So now maybe they're doing randomly, but they're starting out with things that are already kind of in the same color family. And, you know, I thought random is just random. Grab whatever's in the scrap bin and do it. So I'm going to throw that one away. So I wouldn't get things that are in the same color family, but that might make the difference.
For what I'm doing, I grabbed 5 rolls of tape that look like they would go together.
Perfect.
So it's not random in that aspect, but how I'm ripping them and putting them up is random.
Oh, perfect. That's how I do washi. Yeah, I want ones that are going to coordinate color-wise, but yeah, not the same length. They're here and there and everywhere.
Let's straight edges on this stuff, boy.
Cool. Yeah, I never get straight edges when I tear washi either. See, this is one time when not being able to cut straight or tear straight works. Okay, then I'm going to leave it at that because I really do like the old pages, and I do want to see. I'm going to try to move that over because I see a little piece of that brittle paper broke off, and there's file showing underneath it. If I can just cover it with that. Okay, I didn't cover this entire edge right here. So I know that I'm going to cut it right there and make an edge for tags. Okay, so it doesn't look like a whole lot at this point because all it is a good collage base. It looked better with just the music and the books. But all I've done is collage that file folder down to the other file folder. Add some paper. All I've done is add some color that will go with my project, knowing that I'm going to cut this up. And so when I cut this up into tag sizes, then there's going to be parts and pieces of the color on each piece. That's all I'm looking for, because it gives a good base to match that project. And then I'll be decorating on top of it. So they won't be just, popping out like they seem to do right now, just in your face. Thought I had enough collage gel in that, but maybe too much, getting some bubbles. Okay, so I'm going to set that one over here to dry.
Maki would like to know if we have a video tutorial on making a junk journal.
Making one start to finish. I don't know that I don't think we've done one going start to finish. That would be a long one. We do have like how to make a cover, and then we have how to make signatures and bind them. How to bind each signature, and then how to put the signatures into. Okay, I'm going to put that into a playlist. I'll just make it like making a junk journal, or how to make a junk journal playlist, and it'll have how to make a cover, how to do each signature, how to take all the signatures together and bind them into the cover. I know I've got one in there on binding 3 signatures into a hidden binding in the spine. We did a Saturday Night Live a couple of months ago about how to make a cover. We made a couple of covers that night. So all the parts and pieces are there. It just isn't start to finish. Here's how to make a junk journal, but we can, I can put those all into one playlist, so it'll be a little bit easier.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. That's the ticket. All right. I think I'm going to need some more. If I use these underneath me here, I'm going to need something more to collage onto. So let me grab this. I've got a lot of these in this bin underneath my desk. Without going through them. More 12 by 12s than 8.5 by 11s. So, okay. So then there's another, there's several other techniques. So if I just want to collage a whole bunch of bases, substrates, so that I can use them for whatever, then I will often use just the book pages, the music pages, as we just did, because that's very neutral. I can put any other type of paper, any other color with it. And now I'm going to save these because actually we'll use them right now. We'll use them right now for this next type. And they're like neutral. They're considered neutral in the world of collage bases. So I can put anything else on top of them. Now this kind of colored stuff is maybe not quite as neutral. And I've got some other scraps. Those are edges, so I can put those on the edges. I've got some other scraps that I had started, we'll say jazzing up. That's what Louisa Heinzel called it. Louisa Heinzel did this technique, and I started doing it. I'm not finished, but we're going to use some of my scraps anyway. And she was throwing all her scraps into a bin and then spraying them and flicking stuff on them and watered down. So did you see her do that?
It looked fantastic.
Gail did it, and who else did it? Somebody else did it as well. Louisa put out the challenge. So Candy saw the video first and sent it to me. I watched it. Candy started doing it. Her scraps look amazing. I started doing it, but I haven't finished. But I'm going to use them anyway because, we can always jazz them up even while they're... This is a piece of wrapping paper that now looks amazing. Didn't like it so much as wrapping paper. So let me just pull out a bunch of these. And it's a whole lot easier for them not to even be the same type of scraps once you do this. But, I've got a lot of book page scraps, and they just look like this, like book page scraps. But once you go through this process of jazzing them up, that looks a whole lot more cool. Flecks of spray.
Especially once you cut them up, it was just great.
Yeah. Yep. Hers looked really cool. So I wish I'd had time to finish this batch I even threw some leftover tickets in there, but yeah, this batch is about halfway done, but you get the idea. You get the idea of what she was doing, and it is really, really cool. So here's some cool scrapbook paper. Once you do it, you can look at it and say, okay, do I like that side or do I like that side better now? So, all right, so let's put this, now that I've gotten those chosen, I'm going to set them all kind of together right there. And, well, I'm not going to use these now because they don't have any of that stuff on them. Okay, so this is like a random collage, and there's different papers. There's scrapbook paper. There was wrapping paper. There was paper from gel prints, just leftover torn bits. There was music pages and book pages. There's pages that these are gel prints that I had then cut shapes out of. There's page edges. I like these too. They make great texture. And you put that on the bottom of a tag, it actually looks like it's decoration. So they're all different. So that's random collage, right? Except that they all have one thing in common, and that is that I have now made them not quite as random by, when I jazz them up, giving them all kind of the same. They were all jazzed up together. So they got kind of the same colors and jazziness added to them. Jazziness. We got a better word. Okay, so that was a good corner. So this is either I'm not working fast enough or it's just drying too fast. This stuff does dry faster than some other, I think. Okay, yeah, this is, I like that. Love that page there. Look at that. It's that old script writing.
Yeah,
Which way?
Great.
That's the way. So I'm going to put it down here so it faces up. Okay, this is a cool one. I'm going to put that one right there. And I'm actually going to tear this off so we can use that too. So when we cut that to make a straight, you know what? That needs to go on top of something else because it's got those holes in it. So let's do that. Okay, so I can put down all these random pieces and you'll see that in the end, they really do look cohesive because they've all been sprayed and splotched and splattered with the same same colors and mediums. So they've got something that pulls them all together. There is some cohesion. Okay, and we're going to go from here into, not quite yet, but almost, we're going to go into the difference between a collage board and a master board. We're going to do this first. Who's collaging along with us today? Anybody? I know that might be a harder one to do because it's hard to chat while collaging. It's easy for me to chat while collaging, but I don't have to get my fingers in there. So I know it's a little more difficult to chat while collaging. So maybe you'll be doing it later. But is anybody zhuzhed it up? That's yes. They've all been zhuzhed up with the same colors and types of whatevers. So that's yes, that's exactly it, Margie. They've been zhuzhed. All right, I'm lifting that up to hopefully not get lots of collage medium on my mat. I did put the self-healing mat under it because it's super easy to wash off. Glass mat's actually probably easier, but I don't know. Just wasn't feeling the glass mat today. Not sure why. Okay. We've got, this one has, so some of these, they were cut with the paper trimmer, so they've got 4 straight edges. We just can't have anything with 4 straight edges. That's way too straight. Okay, we'll get that one down in the corner. See if I can move our file folder down and not glue it to it. Didn't realize how well it's kind of a thin file folder, and also it's that recycled kind of material. And so, you know, when it gets wet, it starts to stick to whatever's next to it because it's wanting to just break down again. So this is a really thin, almost rice paper type, but it was judged the same. So it's going to have cohesion. Could have put something down underneath that and then put that on because it is very thin. But it'll give it a different look than something that's thicker that you can't see through at all. You can also put something over the top of it. So, okay, let's find something with an edge to put right here. Actually, this has an edge. Let's put that right over here. It's a big piece. Julie, I am, but, so are you? Are you really, Julie?
Toby's with us.
Toby's doing it? Awesome. Yay, Toby. Julie, I think you're just relaxing with that cup of tea. And I think that's totally okay.
Well, especially at her time in the morning.
Yeah.
She'll do a collage and then she'll wake up in a couple hours and wonder where it came from.
Yeah, really. I've seen her get up regularly for oh, look at that. That's cool. I've seen her get up for a, probably 2 a.m., 2 or 3 a.m.? No, 2 a.m. I think your time, isn't it? On Sunday mornings, Julie? I know that's pretty darn early. Julie's an early riser, I know, but she's smart and she goes to bed at a decent time so she actually gets some sleep.
That's a very strange idea.
Unlike Glynis and I. I'm early riser, but not always so smart to go to bed early and get some decent sleep. All right. So are you starting to see how it really looks like it all goes to, it's very strange because when you look at it, you're like, all those pieces are different. They're so different. That's just weird. But yet they all really kind of look like they go together because they've got that cohesive zhuzh. All right, Margie, I need a better word than that. A different word than that. Doesn't feel like me. Margie's my word master. Okay, we're getting there. I like this one. I like this one a lot. It's just got these. Oh, look, there's a bee on it. We'll use it that way. That's pretty cool. Maybe I can just get rid of some of the straight edges. You can always just tear off the very, very edge just to get rid of that straight line so that it'll blend a little bit better with whatever paper is next to it. The torn edges just melt in a little better together. That is probably the biggest tip when you're collaging or decoupaging rice paper. And I've got some. We're going to talk about that too. But tear it, don't cut it. See how these edges, the torn edges, they just kind of tear down to nothing fiber. And so it just, even though they're two completely different pieces of paper, you can see that it just kind of blends in. If you don't look closely, you don't see the straight line. But if you look at this right here, there's a straight line, and that just jumps out at you. You can clearly see the straight line. So for a better blend, tear, don't cut.
Okay, I'm going to put my camera on for a minute to see if I can show you. It's taken me forever just to do this one, and it looks like a giant Easter egg.
Oh, cool. All right, hang on a second. I will wait till you get situated there, and then I will.
I have no idea if I'm even close.
Yeah, you are. Hang on a second. Oh, cool. Look at that. It looks like a giant flat Easter basket. That is pretty. Spring colors.
Boy, does that take a lot of time with their little strips.
Yeah, it does. They are. They are. But it looks like a quilt. By
Oh, I
doing
like
that,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll call it my
but
quilt
by
then.
doing that, you get the quilt look because you can do it in long strips all the
Yeah.
way across, but you don't get quite that same quilt look.
Yeah, I wanted to get the random look.
Yeah, that's
And then my
really
next
cool.
one, I'm going to do like you're doing. So maybe I'll catch up a bit.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's cool. All right, let's see how we doing here. Let's put this right up top. We're almost.
Julie, that wasn't quick. That's taken me the whole time. That's
still.
It's done 3 or 4. I did that one.
Well, yeah, but again, yeah, the little teeny tiny pieces. Yeah, little teeny tiny pieces take a lot longer. And if you're doing that for a specific project, then and those colors are going to go great with that project, and you're doing a big board and you're going to get a lot of cuts out of it.
Well, mostly I wanted to use up washi tape.
Yeah, I hear you. There we go. That's better. I saw a line there after it was down that I didn't see before I put it down, so I wanted to cover that line. Okay. The line being a straight edge. I didn't catch the straight edge. All right. Now we completely messed up your camera system, huh?
Yeah.
Just got to move that one up a little higher so it covers more of that, and I can put another one right there. All right, and one more over here. Ooh, I like that one. That's a pretty one. Okay. I'm going to put a little, this is jumping out at me just a little. It doesn't have as much ink and stuff on it. So I'm just going to take a piece of this and put it over it so that not so much of it is showing. That tones it down just a little bit. Okay. Anything else I look at? This didn't get a lot up here either. So I can put a little more medium up here and take a little, this is that rice paper type. It's kind of a accounting ledger, just a graph paper. Yeah, that's just a graph paper that's kind of rice paperish. Okay, so this is random collaging bits and pieces out of my scrap bin, but
well, it looks great.
Before collaging with them, I had thrown them all into the same bin and zhuzhed them up with the same, colors and sprays and coffee and whatever. So even though they're all completely different kinds of paper and completely different colors, they are cohesive because they have something in common, and that is that they all have been oversprayed with those same colors. Get rid of some of the bubbles. When you see them come, sometimes they're not there until later. When you see them come up, you just rub them down, rub that air right out, and then you don't have them after it dry. Whoops, there's a spot of gray board right there. So we just need a good little piece of something right there. Did I put the side? Yeah, I guess that is the side. I'm going to add a little bit of this. I really like this one. It's got a little more color. There we go. Okay. So now you've got a random collage. But again, I almost have a hard time calling it random because, well, this one is totally random. It's only cohesive because they all got the same kind of sprays on them. So what isn't random, well, I guess definitions of random. If I hunt through my scraps and I take out all the ones in the same color family, I can still do a random collage, putting them wherever, but it's been pre-designed in that I'm choosing papers that are all in the same color family. I'm not just randomly taking them out of my scrap bin and using them that way. Let's see what Julie's been working on. Julie. Oh, she is actually. Julie is actually collaging. Look at that. Awesome. Ooh, I love that old music paper. Look how old and brittle that is.
Yeah, it looks great.
That's beautiful. Let's see. Oh, nice.
Oh, I love
Very
that.
nice. So those are perfect bases, Julie, to then when you cut up to do other things on. Okay, so let me put this one over to dry. And I'm going to bring back the first one. It's not dry yet. And I know it's not dry. But for our next technique, we can use it. Because we could start with a fresh one, but we don't have to. We can use this one, which I think I will. Okay, so same way that we did, kind of the same way that we took one and we made a general base, and we used large pieces, and then we took the piece that I had sprayed in the colors that are going to match my book, and we used those. Here's another very similar technique. And so I'm going to take a general base. It could be just the large pieces like the other one. It could be smaller pieces like this. And this rice paper, say, is from the collection that I am using to make my book out of. And there we go. That's upright. And so I want to use this rice paper because I want to have a base with a bunch of tags that I can use that coordinate with that book. And I really want to tie in that collection to the tags. So I take this. Now I could overlay the whole thing. I can leave the book page and all of that down, and I can put this. Actually, I would do it that way, and then I would have to cut it up that way. You can do it however you want. But if I do that, and then once I decoupage it down, this, basically decoupaging this sheet on top of my collaged substrate, I'm going to see a little bit of the pages through it, which is a very cool look. So I could do that, and then my whole base will be like that. Or maybe you only have one piece of rice paper, and you're like, I want more than, I might get 4 tags out of that if I do that. I want more than that, more tags than that. So how am I going to do that? You can do it like this. You tear it up, and rice paper for sure you want to tear, not cut. If you cut it, you're going to get lines. If you tear it, rice paper is very fibrous, so you'll have lots of weird little things that stick out. Sometimes you'll even have a long piece of fiber that sticks out like this, or even longer. Just leave those there. Don't cut them off, because then it just looks sharp and cut off. Leave them there because they blend right in and they just add texture. It looks very cool. So I can come along here and let's say I'm going to put this down in this corner. So whatever tag this corner, or whatever tag gets cut from this corner, is going to have this piece on it down there. Oh, sticking before I can get it in the right spot. I don't want to cut any of it off, so I really want to try to line it up right with my edges, because I don't want to waste any of my paper. If I only have one sheet, get a lot of use out of it. Okay, there we go. Maybe it doesn't stick to me. Sticks to the paper when it's not supposed to, then it sticks to me when it's not supposed to. Okay, so now I'm going to collage that down. I'm now not decoupaging a page down. I'm now collaging little pieces down, right? And as I do this, I'm going to be able to see the book pages and music pages just a little bit through it. And that looks really cool through rice paper. But it's going to bring in the colors and the elements from that. I'm going to put this little piece over here in the other corner. I'm going to utilize the corners for the corners. Not every, see, there's one of those big fibers. Just leave that. Not every tag that I cut out is going to have one of these 4 corners on it, because I'm going to get more than 4 tags out of it. But I am going to utilize the 4 corners. In the 4 corners, knowing that 4 tags are going to get that piece, because I don't want to, I love the corners. I'll show you why here. I don't want to tear off any of this edge. I love these corners because they're like metal, steel, and they've got all these rivets and grommets and things on them all the way. See, rivets and grommets all the way around it. And so I don't want to lose any of that. And so I'm going to use those 4 corners. So that's the easiest place to start with this piece of rice paper. I'm going to go right down the middle of that one. Loving all the colors on here. And by doing this, just because of these rusty and patina colors, if I didn't use all these tags in this particular book, it would go with many others because of the rust and patina. And if there is an image on it, I've essentially destroyed the image. So by tearing it up, which makes it so you're not going to look at it and go, oh, that belongs to such and such, not to this one. You wouldn't see an image. All you're going to see is the colors, the rust and the patina, which are 2 of my favorite colors of all, rust and patina.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. Happy Monday. Okay, I'm going to grab that. Yeah, I'm going to grab that right there. And I'm putting large pieces on here because I'm not going to put a ton. And I do want every tag that comes out of this to be able to have some of this on it. And a generous piece on it is totally okay because remember, it's going to go with my book. And it's, get to the edge there. Now I got to be able to see where the edge is here. Okay, edge, corner. Ignore. Okay. There's one side. If they don't line up, that means that the file folder wasn't straight. It wasn't cut straight. And that's okay because I will I'll let it be off on the top. And when I make the tags, I'll just trim the top up just a little bit if I need to. And I do here because it is kind of an edge. So, okay. And so I know if I made 4 tags or if I made one big long one, I'm going to have some nice pieces there and here as well if I made 4 smaller tags. So I need something in the middle for any tags that come out of the middle. And let's see. Oh, there's a cool piece. Got a little bit of rust right there. And put that right there in the center. Okay. And let's get a piece down here. So they might end up getting cut in the middle of these pieces, and that is totally okay. In fact, I prefer when they do because it makes it more random. Really love these colors right here.
Have you ever cut up the way Shabby Dabby Doodah does when she cuts from the back so she doesn't see what she's cutting?
Oh, she just turns it over and cuts from the back?
And she instead of, otherwise you're kind of subconsciously directed in certain ways. And she does that, and it really is neat.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't, I'll have to try that. I haven't turned it over and done it from the back. I have said though, it's 8.5 by 11. I'm going to make, 4-inch tags or 4 1/4-inch tags high. So I just cut it straight down the middle, wherever it is. I might just get little bits of this fiber on the one, and that's all. And then it's 11. How many am I going to do? You know, how many inches? I'll do 2 of this size and then 2 thinner of that size, and just straight cut like that without really looking to see, oh, maybe I should make that one 1/2 inch bigger to get all that on there. I haven't done that. So that's kind of similar in that I just figure out how many am I going to get out of that sheet and then cut it.
Yeah.
Without looking at it. But that's interesting to turn over to the back. Kind of the same concept.
Yeah, it's kind of except it's a neat surprise when you turn it over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't even see it when you're cutting it.
Yeah.
I do like if I cut this one right down the middle, I'm liable to get some of these little fibers coming off the top of the one on the bottom. And that's about all I would get, which is very cool. Same thing here. Both of them. I don't know which one. I have to measure that. Might be just a little bit of this one coming to the bottom of that one. And then I can always turn this one upside down once it's cut. And maybe that's the top. So some of them don't have to be directional based on once you cut them up. They may not be directional. If you destroy a picture.
Hi, Lucy.
Hey, Lucy.
She says she always cuts from the back.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, so that is purposeful. Now, the time I wouldn't cut from the back is if this piece of rice paper has flowers or face or something, and you want to make sure that you get a full flower or, you know, the nose and the eyes together on the face, you know, onto a tag, and because it's for a specific project. That's the only time. But something like this, yeah, I'd cut it. Just decide how many tags I want to get out of it based on size, cut it random, because it's going to look cool when there's just parts and pieces of one here and there. Okay, so that is using that first. Oh, this is starting to look really cool. As it's drying, it's starting to look really neat. That'll make some nice base there. Okay, so whoops, didn't mean to bump the camera there. Sorry about that. Let's see. There we go. All right. So let's say I want another piece. Here we have time to do another one. Let's say, oh, these also make great bases. These green file folders. Sometimes you can pick up a whole box of these at a yard sale or something cheap. They make awesome bases. Or maybe you just have a gajillion of them that you need to get rid of. They do wear out and fall apart, and I'm totally okay with that because I will use them for collaging. Okay, so this one, let's talk about the difference between a collage. Let's say I take 2 sheets like this, 2 halves of this green file folder. And one I want to make a collage, and one I want to make a master board. Let's talk about the difference and what is a master board. That's the question I get most often with collaging is, what is this master board I hear about? And I'm looking for... that's not going to work up there. Pulled the paper before putting all the glue down. And we'll go see what Julie's been doing. Let's see, we want to get rid of this hard edge here. Okay, so what we've been doing so far is basically collage. Collage is adhering things down, parts and pieces down together, whether it's in an organized fashion or an unorganized fashion, meaning you're doing it randomly. You're just grabbing, and I have done that. I thought about showing you one, and I just think they're ugly. But I'll cut them up as tags, and then when I decorate them, it'll be fine because they'll get covered up where I don't like them. But just literally grabbing things out of my scrap bin and using whatever came up next. That or even purposefully choosing what you're going to put down and putting these parts and pieces down. That is collage. What we have been doing is collage. So then what makes it a masterboard? People pull up something, they're showing it on videos, and you're looking at it going, that looks like a collage to me. Why are they calling it a masterboard? What does that mean? How do I do one? Okay, but every time they do, you're like, wow, that looks so neat though. How do they make collage like that? That's why they call it masterboard, because it's like a zhuzhed up collage. So what we've been doing is collage, and we could have all these sheets of collage. We'll do more of a masterboard with this one. Say you collage a substrate like this one, and we're just going to cover this one with large pieces of book paper and music pages. Oh, got more hard edges there. And then you take it and you start embellishing it, essentially decorating it. Collage in a collaging way. With the technique of collage, you start decorating it and embellishing it. And you can turn it into a masterboard. A masterboard being a collage that you like so much that you don't want to just use it up. Like these, I'll wait for them to dry. I'll cut them up. I'll use them. They are collage. They're a one-time deal. That was that. I'll make some more. But a masterboard is one that when I finish, I go, wow, I really, really like that. That is something I would want to use over and over again. I wish I had paper printed like that, to use over and over again. Even to tear that up and use it in collage, use it on tags, use it however I wanted to. That's a masterboard. A masterboard is just a collage that has been either by design or I guess it could be by accident, turned out so cool that you want to keep it and use it over and over again. In my mind, a masterboard is random and a collage needs more of an end result, a plan. In fact, when I do collage, I want it to have a focus. See, that's interesting, Lucy, because a lot of people say the collage is random. The masterboard may not have a specific focus, but it comes out looking like a piece of paper or a template, maybe you call it, that they want to reuse over and over again. And so a masterboard, then they call it a masterboard because they are not going to cut it up. What they do is scan it in. I say they like it's somebody else. A masterboard is typically scanned in. Typically it is. That's what makes it a masterboard. It becomes the master template. So it's scanned in, and then you can print it out and use that page over and over again as many times as you like, because you really like the paper that you created with that. So that becomes your master template. That's a masterboard. And it still might be kind of hard to, really fathom a difference because it's still a collaged board. It's still a collaged piece of paper. But just think of it this way. I'm just going to collage. When I finish collaging, if there's something that I like so much that I don't want to cut it up and use it because I want to be able to scan it in, print it out, and use it over and over again, then I'm going to call it a masterboard. It's a master template. It becomes the master. Remember back in the olden days, you worked in an office and you needed to go make copies of something, and they said, somebody'd go, where's the master? Here's the master. That's what a masterboard is. That's the master that you're making copies from. Wanted something longer. I could without using that edge. Yeah, so this is the master. And so it's just a collage turned into a master. Does that make sense?
I like that explanation because I never thought of it that way, and that makes so much sense.
It took me a long time because listening to different people talk or looking at their things, I'm like, well, that's a really nice collage, but it's a collage. So what makes it a masterboard? And then I finally realized, well, a master board is just something that they're keeping to use as a master, which is a template, basically. This is the master that you're going to keep in the file. Every time you need more, you make copies. But once you scan these in, you can just put it on the copy machine and make copies. You don't have to scan it in. So then it is the true definition of a master. You keep it in your file. You need more, you go make a couple copies. Okay. But if you scan it in, then you could do whatever you want with it because it's in there and you can just print it out whenever you want. So you can start out with the intention of making a master board or not. You could start out just collaging. The first time I made one, I was just collaging, and I just happened to get something that I really, really liked. Quite accidentally, I might add. Was not purposeful. It was quite accidentally. But I really, really liked it. And I thought, oh man, I don't want to cut this up. And it was shortly after that that I heard people talking about a master board. I went, yeah, that's exactly what I want this one to be. I don't know what I do. I don't know what a master board is, but I want to treat this one like what they're talking about. Okay. So, I have a much harder time purposefully trying to make a master board, especially in front of you, but I'm going to try to do that. It's much easier for me when it kind of happens randomly. But I've got some things that I cut, and actually some of them I might want to tear. But well, they're all deckled edges, so that might not be too bad. But I can take this, which at this point is just a collage, and say, "Hey, Laura, didn't see you come in." Say, okay, I've got this collage and I would like it to be a botanical master board. And I've got all these botanical cards of different sizes and different things here. And so I'm going to use these and see if I can purposefully make myself a botanical master board. And if I don't like it well enough to make it a master board, then I'll just cut it up like it's a collage and use it. Because, that's okay too. This is a cool, I forget, this is out of one of the Stamperia, however you choose to say it, lines. Can't remember right this moment which one it's out of, but I love this page. Some of these are deckled and some of them are not. I cut 2 sheets up, and got a little snail. Okay, so I'm going to put some of these down. Well, that's kind of stuck really good right there. All right. So it's almost like you're decorating on tags, how you might put things together there. And this is just one way of making a master board. And actually the other way that's more random is a little more comfortable for me. But I thought I would try this one because I know it is a little more comfortable for a lot of people to be very specific about it. I got to get some of this collage medium off my fingers. It's getting to where I can't feel my finger. It's too thick. Okay, let's see here. Underneath here somewhere. Oh, right here. Got some of these little botanical stickers that I thought might work well with this as well. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. The other thing that might work well, I'll just bring this back here. Should have just left it on my desk now that I'm seeing, is some of these flowers or numbers. Let's see. So you know I haven't planned this out. This is as if I was going to sit down and decide to make a master board, just how I would go about it. I knew that was a sticker. Huh, the other day it wouldn't come off. Let's see, where do I want that one? All right, hang on a second before that goes completely down. I would like a blue number. The numbers are not stickers. Oh, don't need to do that. I can just put it directly onto the paper. And then I'm not liking that one right there. Put it down here by this little snail guy. Yeah, maybe I like it better there. All right. And maybe this would be nice right there. Although, okay, now I'm starting to think farther ahead and not want to. That long one was an interesting one to put over there. Because then I'm going to end up with, if it's a master board, and if it's for tags, do I cut that? But then it doesn't always have to be used for tags.
That would make a good belly band.
That's true. It would. And it'd be okay for that label to get cut right off. And a little flower could go on that too. That would make a really great belly band right there. Okay. Smaller ones. I did make one that I really thought would be great to use as a cover. And you could even think of it in that way. Would I want this to be the cover, of a book, and design the front and the back accordingly? And, depending how you could decide, I want this big of a spine and this big of a cover, and make it just the right size.
I like collaging soft book covers, and when I do, I always start with a spine. I find that works best.
Yeah, you got to know how big you want your spine or need your spine. That's... Okay. And we need maybe something with color over here. Maybe underneath that guy. Can we still pull him up? We can. And got some really great flowers right there. So how about, I think they're yellow tulips. Let's
Yellow and tulips, and you're using it?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Look how pretty they are. I had to look closely. They're not daffodils. Oh my goodness. My fingers are so coated in medium. It's only my fingertips. I'm not a mess. I even put on an apron because I have to run my mom to an appointment right after this. So I'm all dressed and ready to go. I didn't want to get collage medium on me. And I don't have it anywhere except my fingertips, but they are just coated. I need something sharp. That's what I need.
Every time I put something down, it comes back up with me.
Sticking to your fingers.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can get some light. Okay, I don't really want to spend 5 minutes doing this. I got to find a better way to get these. Okay, I think I got it. If not, I'm going to the tape trick. I got it. If not, we're trying the tape trick next. Okay, so okay, I want to tie all those together. Make sure I have enough medium underneath here. All right. We need some little bits of something up on top. What have we got here? We could do I don't know which way's which on that. Probably that way. And a little bit of purple there. You know, if you get a master board that you really like all the botanicals, or you really like just the colors in it, you make copies of it and you can tear it apart and use it for collage and make more, either master boards or just collages that you really, really like because of the colors or the topic. So one can make another. Let's see if that's that'll work. Now don't be collaging the bags to the board. Okay, we're starting to get there. Let's see if we've got. What do we want? What do we want? Not that I like trying to separate these on camera, but I do really like the effect of these flowers. Oh, there's some more purple ones. Pansies. Little purple pansies. I do like little purple pansies. You know the Little Purple Pansy song, Glynis?
No.
Really?
No, you'll have to sing it.
I don't even know if I remember the whole thing. I thought for sure you'd know that.
Not about pansies, no.
Little purple pansies dressed in yellow gold, growing in my garden. Da 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 da. I can't remember it.
No, I've never heard that one.
Learned it as a kid. And can't, yeah, I'll have to think about it to get the rest of it back. Just, okay, so there's some purple pansies. Might be pretty up here. Add a little bit of color.
Oh, KK, that's too bad. Oh dear.
What?
Her mom just fell.
Oh no! Oh no! KK, oh. Is she there with you, or do you need to go take care of her, or is she even nearby you? So sorry. That's scary.
Yeah.
That is really scary. Totally understand. If you have to leave, we totally understand. And keep us posted. Hope she's okay. Okay, so even some of these spots that don't have any of these cards down, they could have some of these flowers. These scissors seem to be working quite well to get in between these. I'm almost afraid to say that because then they'll stop working.
You're kind of jinxed when it comes to that.
I know. But hey, I just got 3 of them off pretty darn quick. So, okay. And I'll put one more up here, and then we'll take a look at it and see if we're going to call it there. Kind of keeping with the same. I'll go with this pink. That's pretty much. Well, if the scissors will work and will keep working, that will be my way. But yeah, I'm afraid to say that, and then and then the next one doesn't come. Oh, good, there it is. Whew. But then the next one won't come off. Great. Okay. Okay. So there's an off-the-cuff, what you might call a master board. It's done specifically with botanicals, with all the different things, and I might like to, once it's dried, make copies of that and then tear it up and use it in collage to use with botanical things, or even to collage on tags. As botanical tags are always
something
fun.
else you can do at this step is to stencil on top of it.
Yes. Yes. So the next thing I was going to say, on a master board, often you will see on a master board that they have either stenciled or stamped. And I'm not going to stamp because it's not dry, and the stamp will just stick to it and start pulling it up because that's old brittle paper. But once it's dry, you could stencil. Well, it depends what you're stenciling. If you're stenciling medium, you could do that now. If you're going to stencil ink, just to give it that little bit of stencil, I would wait till it's dry. I don't ever do that when it's wet. Once it's dry, then I'll sit it down and then I'll take a stencil and do a little bit of, so like anywhere that's in between here just kind of pops out at me because it's like empty space. There's no botanicals there. So then I'll take a stencil and put it down and do a little bit here, maybe a little bit over here. Then take a stamp. Maybe I've got some stamps of butterflies. That would be a good thing. And stamp some butterflies here and there, everywhere, and not perfectly. Let them be random and let them be, some of them off the page and some of them be not fully stamped. Just, I don't even put it on an acrylic block a lot of the times. Especially if it's not a giant stamp. If it's a background stamp, I don't either. I'll just ink part of the background and then just set it down and push it here and there. Background stamps are great to do this kind of thing because if you ink part of it, or even if you ink the whole thing, when you put it down, if you don't put it on a block, push it down and you push part of it down, you're going to get those edges that just fade off so perfectly, where if you just stamp, you're going to get clean, crisp edges. And so those edges that just fade off when you're only putting a little bit of stamp here and a little bit of stamp here look really great. And then don't be afraid to let that stamp or that stencil go over the top of these cards, because that ties them all in together. And then you get a butterfly that's maybe here, and so it's halfway on the cards, halfway off. It's like it's flying over the top of them. Okay.
Dawn has a message for you.
Okay. Little purple pansies touched with yellow gold, growing in one corner of the garden old. We are very tiny, but must try, try, try. Just one spot to gladden you and I. Thank you, Dawn. In whatever corner we may chance to grow, whether cold or warm the wind may ever blow, dark the day or sunny, we must try, try, try. Just one spot to gladden you and I. Because purple pansies always gladden the spot in the garden they are, right? They make it happy. They're so pretty. Thanks, Dawn. Dawn, I knew you'd know it. That's awesome. Oh, so part of this is dry. The part that I didn't just, re-wet with medium all over. So I will wait for it to completely dry, and then I will do some stamping on it like I would do, so this is like step 2 with this. Okay, great, but it's still not, it's still lacking. It still needs something. It's still not brought together. So that's what the stamping will do. So I will let that dry, and then I will stamp on it, and I will be sure to put a picture of it in the group so that you can see it. Let's look at this one as it's starting to dry. As it starts to dry, you start to be able to see some of the script and the music through the rice paper. You'll see more of it as it dries more. That's why rice paper is so cool. I have a bin that is just scraps of napkins and rice paper because they work the same, and I will use them both. A lot of times it's not the same napkin or the same rice paper, but I'll take them out by color. So looking for scraps of certain color family to go with one and put them all over. They look great. And this rice paper is pretty dark with the patina and the rust, but a lighter one, or one that has botanicals or flowers like that, once it dries, if you go back over that with stamping, looks so cool. So cool. Okay, there's 2 other things that I wanted to show you. I don't know if we'll have time for both. I cut a tag right before we started. Where did I set it? Let's see here. Get some of these things out of this bin. And so I don't think I set it in there. Okay. Oh, look at this one as it's drying. The more it dries, the better it looks. Now this one will be cool with some stamping on it too. Even though I may not consider it a masterboard, it'll still look great with some stamping. Okay, so I'm going to put this one over here.
I have 2 bases I've done.
Okay.
So that I can stamp over them and stencil over them later. So
cool.
They're very simple.
Awesome. Okay. Pulling you over. Ooh, maps. Raise it up a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Oh, I like the maps. I like the maps a lot. Maps are wonderful.
And what I like doing is I distress every piece as I do it. And this is the other one.
There you go. Okay. The 2 techniques that I wanted to show you, Glynis has got one right there. Very similar to the look I do, where I distress every piece of paper before putting it down, just around the edges of every piece of paper. And then when you put it down, you get a different look with the distress all the way throughout it. I like that look a lot too. That looks really cool.
Those are both set up now for me to further embellish for.
Yes. So remember this bin that I told you that I had, that when I watch TV, I can just sit down and distress. Mm-hmm. That's what I do with a lot of these. Just tear them up, and I'll tear them up into sizes that I know I'm going to use specifically for collaging. And like this, I've got 3 torn sizes, so I'm okay with that. I'll leave this one because I can put that along an edge. But if I come to like this, I will probably tear one of these sides because I'm not going to have too many places where I'm going to have a corner, because it would need a corner. So I'm okay with the one torn edge. But if I have a lot of those, I just do that, and then I distress that. And so I want lots of them with no straight edges. And I'm okay if none of them have a straight edge, because once it's done, and that board is done, then I'm going to trim up the edges to make them all straight and even, and then I will just distress the edges. So I'm looking for that tag. I tore a tag off of here. Did I set it over here? I don't think so. Well, I can tear another one. I can tear another one. Let's see. Oh, probably should have put that in water, but that's the bottom. Just checking for size. A little bit. But how? Oh, all right. I just need to do this. Okay. 10 minutes. That should be just about enough time.
Marianne, do you find you tend to tear your pieces into about the same size every time?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I'll often just leave them big until I go to use them. And then I'll put some big ones down first and then smaller ones down on top of it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But if I'm distressing the edges, like that little bin to make the one like you just did,
yep,
I think I do tend to, not exactly, but, you know, probably within an inch from the largest to the smallest, fairly close to the same size. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You kind of find a size that you like.
Yeah, and you work with it. Yeah.
Yep, and you keep doing that. Okay, so this is collaging a tag. A lot of people have said, how do I collage a tag? Because that's not a great big thing. I just don't know. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. You feel kind of overwhelmed by this piece here. So let me grab this bin back, because I do like using pieces like this when collaging a tag. And there's two kind of approaches to this that I might do. One is I might take a piece of this and put a whole piece, just cover the whole thing, and then collage some other smaller pieces on top of it, adding to it. And the other would be I will use some music pages, but I'm not going to put a full base down. And what would determine which would I do? Well, this is a pretty decent base substrate to start working with it. It's a file folder. But if I'm just using a piece of paper, then I would for sure do this, because now I've got two pieces of paper and it just gives it a little bit more strength. So, okay. So when I'm doing, sure don't want to lose that up there in that corner. When I'm doing a tag, all right, when I'm collaging a tag, I personally don't want 100 little teeny tiny pieces, unless that's a specific look that I'm going for. You know, if I'm going for
or you do washi.
Or yeah. And I do washi.
Oh, that was my first one. It might be my last.
Oh, and there's different ways to do that, especially if you're gonna. That was a pretty large one. If you're gonna do a large one like that, you might want to do longer strips, because that can be a big pain. Okay, but I'm always gonna start with kind of a larger piece, and this is gonna go right up in the corner. And the only way I'm going to know it's in the corner is by lining it up with the top and the side, because my corner is cut off. And I checked it first because I wanted to make sure when I cut that corner off, I'm not going to lose that number, because I think that looks cool up there, that organ solo on that music. Okay, so I'll start with that. I will going to bring some other pieces out here that, see, now I've got some scraps of washi, or not washi. I've got some scraps of this rice paper in here that maybe I'll use too. And this is a place that I might use this. I don't think this has enough spray and stuff on it, but that could be dealt with after the fact. I do really like this piece. That's a fairly big one. Let's see. This is straight and this is straight. So it either goes up here. Is there, which way is, this way is right side up. So that really should go up there if I want it to be right side up. Either that, or I need to tear off one side for me so that I don't have that straight edge in the middle. Not that you can't have a straight edge in the middle, but if you don't like that look of that jumping out at you, then that's just one more thing I have to make sure that I find a way to cover it up. So if I just don't have it, then I don't have to deal with it. Okay, so let's get some music maybe down here. And I want to use these corners because I love the way this paper is just old and brittle. You can see it, and it gives it a cool look. Those roughed up edges that have just cracked. What were you going to say, Glennis?
That you froze for a moment. Then as I was going to say it, you unfroze.
Okay. Underneath that, make sure it's not sticking. All right, so I'm liking the direction we're going with the music paper. Oh, that's funny. Look, music paper, and then this is scrapbook paper that has music on it. That didn't even register, but I'm liking it. Okay, so I'm going to tear this piece to go across here. Did that in the right direction? Yeah. Of that scrapbook paper with the music on it. Okay, and then I'll do one last piece right here. If I had another half an hour, I could use up this whole jar. Wanted to use all my half empties. Get rid of them. Give me some space to buy some more. Okay. So again, there's a basic tag. Now, once it dries, I don't like to cut it before it dries because I'm going to gum up my paper cutter. And when I brushed that, I pulled it. See that I pulled it over. Oh, now I've torn it.
Now you're torn it.
Yeah, that's okay. Once it's dry and I trim it up, I will trim it up just to trim off that little bit of edge right there. Okay. But if I know that I want some additional, with that, I could go ahead and do some embellishing, which is collaging down. I could do that. I could put some of this paper on it. I think maybe I'll use some of this rice paper, some of these scraps that I have right here. Love these little tears up here. I'll put that right in the middle because I've got one straight edge and 3 torn edges. We'll get some of that rust and patina on there. And maybe a piece over here. So you don't have to do a whole board in order to get you some tags that match what you're doing. You can just collage the tags, cut the tags how you want, take all the scraps from the book or the project you've been doing, and use them to make your make your tag. So in haste, we got to give you a basic. And I might end up doing some more things on it, but just in the interest of time, whoops, cut right into that. This is a side. Once it dries, I will trim it up with my paper trimmer because it's a rough edge, and I might have a little piece where I pulled the paper with the brush while collaging it down. But there's the basic. And so I know when it dries, I'm going to have that old music paper. And that looks like old music paper, that scrapbook paper. And I'm going to have the rustin patina from that rice paper. And so once it dries, then I can go ahead and embellish it, decorate it on top of that. But I've got a good tag base there, and it's not too thick. But if you wanted it thicker, just do more layers. Or that's why we do these. You start with something thicker, or you put down a base of newspaper or book pages or music pages, and you can even put 2 layers of those if you need to make it thicker, and then you put your colored on top of it. See, now you can really see the music and words starting to come through the rice paper as it dries. That's going to look really cool on the tags, seeing that through. It's like the old vintage wallpaper when they pulled it off the wall and there's newspaper behind it on the wall. That's what they used to use as a base. I guess like a primer. Let me put this in water. Okay, so I'll let these dry. I'll trim them up along the edges once it's dry, and then they'll be able to be cut into tags. And here's another one. So if these are smaller tags, here's one that can go with that same project. That is a larger tag. And here is the beginnings of our master board. It's drying nicely. Maybe by the time I get home this afternoon, it'll be dried and I'll be able to stamp on it. I'll do some stamping, some grunging. I'll stamp all over. I'll ink the edges. See how I like that? Trim up the edges so that it's nice and straight. And then I'll post a picture of that. And here's the one that is a random collage, but with paper that has all been zhuzhed the same. Along came the copy machine. Teachers helped when my boys were in school, and they used the mimeograph. Mimeograph machine. Wow. Yeah. So really, masterboard is originally used to be in any way you prefer. So a masterboard, yeah. A collage is something that I'm going to take the original collage, and I'm going to cut it up and use it. It's gone. No more to exist. A masterboard is something that I'm going to take this and I'm going to make copies, and I'm going to use the copies in whatever way I want, putting the master away for safekeeping. So I always have the master to make more copies. Now I say copies because it makes sense to everybody, but you might scan it in, you might copy it in color or black and white. I've taken some recently and just done them in black and white, and they print out really, really cool. Let's see, what else? I thought we had one more. We do. We got this one that doesn't appeal to me so much right now, but when it gets cut up and it goes with a project of similar colors, good tag bases. See, these pieces just didn't get any grunge. These were some of the same ones from the same ink session there, but these got some coffee and some other grungy sprays on them as I started jazzing them up. And so if I ink this up, then it will start to look like those as well. But it's got the color that is needed for the project, because that's why I chose the piece of paper, right? So, yep, they'll come along. So fun to play with, the whole thing about collage is there is no right, there is no wrong, just like all the other art we do. It is whatever you want. It is literally whatever you want. But the reason I love collage is because sometimes you say it's whatever you want, and I don't know what I want. So then I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do it. But just remember with collage, if you don't like it, just glue a piece of paper on top of it and change it. It never has to stay the same. So if this dries and I say, I just really don't like that bee right there, he just does not belong. I can go to the scrap bin and grab another one of these pieces of paper, like any of these, and glue it right over the top. Same thing with this. If I said, oh, I don't like it at all, I could glue a dictionary page or music page over the entire thing and start all over. So when you do that, it takes the pressure off of yourself to have to do it right, and just do it. Just do it. And, you know, if you like it at all, Dawn, scan it for future use, because you might just really like the colors, not necessarily the design. Maybe there isn't any particular design, and you can use those colors tearing up in collage later. So,
Dawn, once they're cut up, Dawn, they look so different. They don't look at all like it, so they look way better. And
yes.
You can also remember, you can die cut these. And you can
Yes.
make butterflies and flowers and just anything out of them.
And depending how thick you make it, you can punch them out with punches.
Yep.
Yes. So some of these I'll put a picture and then I'll cut them up and then show you the picture of them cut up and how different they are even before decorating them. So, all right, guys, got to run. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to do some collage yourself. Put your pictures in the group, hashtag Monday Jumpstart Collage. Love to see what and the scan is the master. Yep, that's exactly right. Love to see what you guys collage, what you come up with. Glennis will get her pictures in. And Julie's done some. So the rest of you have the rest of the day, the rest of the week even. Have the rest of a great day. And thanks for hanging with me today. And we will see you Thursday for Mass Make at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Better make sure that doesn't glue down. 2 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday for Mass Make. Thanks so much, guys. Love y'all. Bye-bye.